Well, Heroes Hollers back with the continuation of the Friday the 13th review series, and now we're on part 2 now. And this is where we get to see Jason Voorhees for the rest now. So, here we go. So, you tell by the cover and why I'm wearing this shirt. Coincidence? I think not. So, yeah. So, May 1st in 1981. My bad. So, yeah, this came out. So, yeah, let's get on to, this movie. My bad. 2 months later, the murderers at the Camp Crystal Lake sole survivor Allie has recovered from her traumatized, expecting her appearance when Allie opens the refrigerator and to get her cat some food. She finds the servant's head of Parliament Voorhees and is murdered with an ice pick on her template by an unknown assailant. 5 years later, Paul Holt opened a school for camp counselors on the shore of Crystal Lake. The camp is attacked by Ceres, her boyfriend Jeff Scott, Terry, Mark, Vicky, Ted, and Paul's assistant Guinea, as well as many other threats around the campfire. That night, Paul tells the counselors the legend of Jason Voorhees, a boy who drowned at Camp Crystal Lake in 1957. Since venturing for mothers on two killing sprees in 1958 and 1979 until she herself was eventually murdered according to the legend. Jason survived and is now living in the woods near Crystal Lake. Enraged at his mother's death, and he will kill anyone he comes across. As Paul finishes the story, a man with a spear spares everyone, but it's revealed to be Ted wearing a mask. Paul resisting everyone that Jason is dead, and that Camp Crystal Lake is now coming and off limits. That night, Crazy Ralph wanders onto the parties to warn the group, but is guaranteed from a tree by an unseen killer. The following day, Jeff and Santa sneaks off to Camp Crystal Lake, and finds a dog carcass before getting caught by Deputy Wilson, and returned to camp later. Wilson spots a man wearing a burlap sack mask running across the road. Wilson chases him into the woods and finds a shack. The man kills Wilson with a hammer claw. We get to see Jason Voorhees for the first time in this, but not wearing the iconic mask yet, until we get to the third one. 6 days behind. Back at the camp, Paul offers the others one last night on the town before training begins. Six stay behind, including Jeff and Sandra, who are focused to stay as punishment for speaking off at the bar, getting Musin that if Jason were still alive and had witnessed his mother's death, it may left with no choice. With no choice. With no decision with it. Between life and death, or right and wrong. Paul dismisses the idea of proclaiming that Jason is nothing but an urban legend. Meanwhile, the assassin appears at the camp and kills the counselors. One by one, Scott has throated Slight with a machete while caught in a rope trap, and Terry is killed off screen upon finding Scott's dead body. That's the only thing. He's like, oh my god, and then the camera cuts to the death, away from the death. Anyways, Mark has a mark slam into his face and falls down a flight of stairs as he died. The killer then moves upstairs and impales Jeff and Sarah with a spear as they have sex. Never have sex in a horror movie. Anyways. Then stabs Vicky to death with a kitchen knife. Ted stays behind at the bar while Ginny and Paul return to find the plates and in the dark. The killer abuses Paul and continues to chase Ginny throughout the camp and into the woods, where she comes across a shack. After barricading herself inside, she finds an artery with primarily Voorhees serpent head on it, surrounded by a pile of bodies. Realizing that Jason Voorhees is the killer, Ginny puts on Parmila's sweater and tries to psychology concerning Jason that she is his mother. The ruse barely work until Jason sees her mother's head on a altar and awkwardly formed razor, and Paul suddenly returns and tries to save Ginny, but Jason impales him just as Jason is about to kill Paul with a pickaxe. Ginny picks up a machete and slams it down into Jason's shoulder, seemingly killing him. So like this. Paul and Ginny return to the cabin, and her someone outside, thinking that Jason has followed them the opening door, only to find Terry's thawed muffin. Just as they hide in relief, an unmasked Jason bursting through the window from behind and grabs Ginny. She then awakens to be loaded up into an ambulance and calls out for Paul, who is nowhere to be seen, leaving the fate of Bong's back in the shed. Paul's head remains on an altar, but Jason is nowhere to be found. And that's continuing to part 3. And we get the mask for the first time. This movie was weak, unfortunately. I mean, we get to see the first time with Jason Voorhees, but I don't know. The third one kind of felt better with Jason with the infamous mask. Oh, yeah, C, I give it. So, yeah, that's it for part 2. Part 3 will be coming up probably on Sunday, perhaps. tomorrow I'll do my Dynamite review. And I'll get back to the 95 reviews with SummerSlam 95. And then Friday would be SmackDown. So anyways, like this video, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and see for this movie. So yeah, bye.